This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The holidays are over, the decorations are down, and suddenly everything feels a little empty. It's normal to feel the winter blues after the holiday excitement. January, February, and March are by far my least favorite months of the year. It's cold and dark, and I have to get some extra vitamin D on board. I also need to keep my regular scheduled appointments with my therapist. So if you're feeling that post-holiday funk, I definitely suggest you checking out BetterHelp because maybe it's time to talk. You might also be one of those people like me who makes New Year's resolutions and you get super motivated. So maybe you need someone behind you to hold you accountable and come up with a plan to meet your goals. BetterHelp is super convenient, totally online. You have a therapist right at your fingertips whenever you need them. So head over to betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/wifeofcrime1 for 10% off your first month.
Bored at home? Head over to Chumba Casino and join some serious social casino fun. With hundreds of games at your fingertips, no purchase necessary. You can play anytime, anywhere. There's a special welcome bonus waiting for you when you sign up. Play for fun, play for free, and you could even redeem some great prizes. Visit ChumbaCasino.com and get ready to reel in the fun. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all, and neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So Russ, sometimes there are cases that I just can't get out of my head. And no matter what way you look at it, something just doesn't add up. And the case I'm telling you about today is just like that. There are so many inconsistencies, but luckily, this case is being reopened. This is the mysterious death of Kendrick Johnson. Hello, welcome back to Wife of Crime. My name is Jess.
I'm Russ.
And this is a true crime podcast where I tell my husband my favorite true crime stories and he reacts to them.
That was the first time when you said, I'm Jess, and I said, I'm Russ. You always want me to do that. I'm like, nah, that's too corny.
I do. I'm so proud of you that you did it finally.
Yeah, I felt stupid.
No, I like it. It's a nice little flow in the beginning.
All right.
So it's been a great week. It's been a great 2 days because it's daylight savings. Well, it's the day after daylight savings.
Cheers, everybody.
So that means that the days are longer and we're not in this terrible winter, short day, constant darkness anymore.
Word, happy daylight savings. That's the best day of the year.
It really is.
Whoever invented daylight savings, the one that goes backwards.
Fall back, yeah.
They're dumb as fuck. Why would you want less daylight?
You can look up the history of daylight savings. I think it has to do with World War II or World War I, maybe.
I did look it up. And then I was thinking, whoever would say that they would get rid of daylight savings time as like a president or something, I would vote for them no matter what their other policies are. They'd be like, we'll make the sun stay out 1 hour longer.
But I heard that the fall back, like where the daylight is actually shorter, is the real version. And this is the fake world.
Nah, if they did that, bro.
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true.
I'm moving.
So another good thing that happened this week is our $15 patrons, the ones that were the original crew from 3 months ago, got their mugs, their True Crime and Chill mugs, and people are posting about it. They're so happy.
Yo, thanks for sticking around for 3 months. I didn't realize that the Patreon's been going on for 3 months. I feel like we just started it yesterday.
No, it's been going on since January. So that's really exciting.
Yo.
I think it was January or February. It had to be.
How many True Crime and Chill episodes did we do?
We've done 3.
I thought we did 2.
We did 3.
All right, so I'm going to shout out everyone on the Patreon that joined this week. So this week we got Donna, Danielle, Christy, Megan, Candy, Chastity, Esmeralda, Nicole, Emily, and Chris.
Yeah. Emily and Chris are husband and wife duo. And she commented that she got her husband Chris to listen, and he binged all the episodes in 2 weeks.
Yo, that's cool, because that means it's just me, Chris, and a couple other dudes here.
It's true. A lot more ladies listen to us. 85% to be exact of our listeners, which is so funny.
Yeah, everyone's always befuddled on why women love this so much. But I think that the reason women love it so much is because if they know what's happening and how it's happening, they think it won't happen to them.
I think it's because it makes us feel more prepared.
Besides wanting to know how to kill us if we don't throw out the garbage or something.
No.
And I'm doing more chores lately. So during this pandemic, no one would believe the one thing I learned how to do during the pandemic was use the dishwasher.
It's true.
I didn't know how to use it before the pandemic, and my first time using it, I put regular soap in the thing, the little hole, and there was flood in the whole kitchen.
It
and
was.
I was like, this is so stupid.
There were soap suds everywhere, and he sent me a picture while I was at work, and I was like, what did you do?
I was like, this is why chores are for women.
Oh, don't even. You're about to get punched across the kitchen table. And all the women listening want to punch you through their radio. Guaranteed.
All women listening, just go do the dishes, come back and finish the episode.
Everyone, let's just group smack Russ right now. Anyway.
Make sure you dry them.
Whatever. You're so annoying. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a good week. Shout out to the patrons. And let's just get into this case. We don't have a lot of stuff in the beginning today. So this case has been on my list. I have a really long list of cases, but this one has been on my list for a really long time. And I decided to tell you this story because last week us in true crime, when I say we, I mean the true crime peeps.
The true crime community.
Yeah, we got news that the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department is reopening this case. So this is one of those cases that is very difficult to figure out exactly what happened. Depending on the way you look at it, the sources you read, the podcasts you listen to, even the mood you're in, you may come up with a different conclusion. But I do have to say, although I don't always like to admit it, you tend to be right about these types of things.
Wow. I was curious, as you were saying, they're reopening the case.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many cases have been reopened from everyone and this true crime craze that's kind of going on, and it's getting bigger and bigger. That people are going back to these cases and like, wait a minute, you can't just put this as a closed case. There's so much evidence.
Yeah, I wonder too. This case in particular definitely has gotten a lot of attention. And the news of them reopening it was pretty big. So like I said, you tend to be right about these types of things. And you honestly have good instincts. So when I saw that they decided to reopen this, of course, me being a true crime nut, I went down this rabbit hole again, like I did back in 2018 when I first heard about this. So I've come to the same conclusion that I did then, which is the same conclusion I often come to.
You don't know shit.
Which is, I'm in between two theories and I can't decide what I believe, and I go back and forth. So I wanted to tell you this story right away, because you, however, are totally opposite. When you decide your conclusion, you don't waver at all. Even if I prove you wrong, even if I present you with tons and tons of facts, you still stand firm in your belief, whatever that is.
Yo, shout out to all the people on Instagram that try to give Jess facts about why Russ, should believe something else. But you're wrong.
But
even if you're right, you're wrong. It doesn't matter.
Because he believes what he believes, and there's no changing his mind. So
you can't question a professional profiler.
You're an unprofessional profiler, I thought.
Well, yeah, I haven't got paid for my services yet. But one day someone's going to ask me to help them out and they're going to give me like $10.
That's all you're worth is $10.
You're professional once you get $1.
That's true. But you think you're worth $10. Your profiling skills.
No, but like maybe like because it might be someone from the podcast, one of our peeps out there, you know, maybe I would do it for them for cheap, you know, just I like McDonald's.
Buy him a Big Mac.
My favorite restaurant.
Buy your boy a Big Mac and he'll profile the shit out of anything you want.
Fun fact, McDonald's is my most favorite restaurant in the whole entire world.
It really, it's not even a joke. It really is his favorite restaurant.
People always like, what's your favorite restaurant? McDonald's. They're like, no, really, where do you want to go? No, really, I like McDonald's.
No, it's really his favorite. It really is. So I'm very curious, since this is such a tough case to figure out, I want to hear what you think.
I'm probably not going to know shit either, but let's do it.
This is the mysterious death of Kendrick Johnson. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Our hardcore true crime listeners, I'm sure they know this case. All the big podcasts have covered it. It's pretty notorious because it's such a doozy. So our story starts on January 10th, 2013. Jacqueline Johnson's 17-year-old son, Kendrick, a.k.a. KJ, that's his nickname,
Makes sense.
was late for his curfew. He told her that morning that he was going to stay after school for a few hours and watch a basketball game. KJ was a high school senior at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia. And he was quite an athlete himself. He played baseball, basketball, football, and ran track. And according to his family, football was like his biggest passion. He really wanted to go to college, get a scholarship. Like he was very big with football.
Good for him.
When KJ still wasn't home by midnight, though, Jacqueline tried calling his cell phone many times and calling friends and got no responses. She decided to call police and report her son missing. The following morning, January 11th, she drove up to the school to talk to them and make them aware that this was the last place she knew he was going to be. And this was the last place he was before he disappeared. So she wanted to just make them aware of it and see if anyone had any information. So meanwhile, as Jacqueline is in the guidance counselor's office, a group of students were in what they called the old gym. So apparently this school had two gyms, an old gym and a new gym. The old gym was smaller, and it's kind of where they stored a lot of the equipment. And it's where they had like the mats for cheerleading and gymnastics and wrestling. They had them rolled up and put in the corner of that gym.
I feel like that's probably how you know you go to a good school, because in the Bronx, no schools have gymnastics.
Yeah?
No, you don't have like cross.
Do they have cheerleading?
Yeah, they have cheerleading.
Oh, okay.
But that's just like girls in miniskirts walking around the school. They probably don't even dance.
No, cheerleaders actually do a lot of cool stuff. They do lifts and everything.
Not in the Bronx.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what
twerk.
cheerleaders do.
As you're playing?
I don't know what cheerleaders do in the Bronx, but I know cheer is a real serious thing, especially in the South.
Nah, I never seen them do flips. They had like little cheers, and now they probably like recite Cardi B and twerk as the team's playing.
Stop.
Shout out to the cheerleaders.
Well, down in the South.
Oh, that's going to make someone mad.
Well, down in the South, cheerleading is huge. I mean, huge, huge. It's almost, in some places, cheer in the South is bigger than the sports in some places, like especially some colleges.
Wait a minute. But if you have nothing, it can't be bigger than the sport you're cheering for.
No, but they compete and everything. The cheerleaders, they're on their own squad. They do lifts and jumps and all kinds of crazy things.
So it's like gymnastics, but they call it cheering.
Well, they do cheers, they do dances and gymnastics all in one. And then they go to competitions.
You know what? I did see it on ESPN, and they do like flips and stuff.
Yeah, I'll educate you on the cheer world. It's pretty cool.
No, I don't want to watch it.
So anyway, they're in we're talking about the old gym. So in this old gym, that's where they kind of stored a lot of the equipment and the mats for cheerleading, gymnastics, and wrestling. Mm-hmm. So they were 6 foot tall and about 3 feet wide, these mats.
6 foot tall, 3. All right.
Okay. And they were all in the corner of the room, standing up vertically in the corner of the room.
Like rolled up.
Rolled up, standing up vertically in the corner of the room. So this group of girls were in the gym just hanging out, and they noticed something white sticking out of one of the mats. They walk over to see what it was and realize it looked like socks sticking out from the top of the mat. So one of them ran and grabbed a teacher, and a teacher came over and they decided to flip the mat on its side to see what was going on because they thought maybe someone is in there.
I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought whoever rolled up the mat was lazy and just left the sock in there.
No, but it's out of the middle, and there's something in the sock. It looks like feet.
Well, that's different if it's a foot.
So they rolled the mat down, and as soon as they did, they smelled a horrible smell and saw blood. They immediately backed away and called police because they knew there was a dead person in the mat. So now KJ's mom wasn't immediately notified. In fact, they didn't tell her for 3 hours. When cops show up...
Did they know it was him right away?
No. But they knew pretty quickly because cops show up and they videotape their arrival and them walking into the scene. So I'll warn you, it's very graphic videotape. But all the photos and videos were actually released by Kendrick's family.
Wow.
They wanted all of this out there because they believe there's been a mishandling of justice in this case by law enforcement and by the school board. And I'll go into detail about that later. So I'm going to play the video for Russ, and I'm going to post the video online. It's graphic because you see Kendrick's dead body in it. So if it's not something that you think you can handle, don't go watch it. I will just describe it for you after I show Russ the video. Okay, so I'm going to, like I said, post the video online on wifeofcrime.com. I'll post the link there so that you can check it out if you feel like you can stomach it. So let me just describe what we just watched, and then Russ can talk about what he thinks or what he observed. So the cops walk into the old gym and they take note of a few things. They show a hoodie on the floor across the room. They show a yellow envelope that apparently KJ was carrying around earlier in the day. They show one black and white sneaker laying near the mats. Then you see cops approach the mat that KJ was inside of. And you notice that his shoes, his sneakers that he was apparently wearing earlier in the day, were stuffed behind his legs. Then you see half of him hanging out of the mat onto the floor with one arm around his waist and one arm raised, like you see his elbow, so it's raised above his head.
Yeah, like he might have fell out of the mat after they moved it or something.
Yeah, like when they pushed the mat over, he kind of slid out a little bit. So what I found really weird about that, and I'm just saying, just from observing the video, I mean, I do know a lot more details, but the one thing that was a red flag that I noticed is his shoes were off and behind his legs.
Yeah, so I was wondering, was he put in there after he was killed, or did they put him in there alive? If the shoes are stuffed in there, it seems like they were trying to hide him and he was dead, then they rolled him up in the mat.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
But, because it didn't seem like a place you would suffocate, because you'd be able to lift your head and get air. So it seems like he was dead first, and then they put him in there.
Well, let me finish telling you the rest of the information I have, and we can talk more about theories later, okay? Because I have a lot more to tell you.
Yeah, because, you know, young boys play around a lot. Like, we'll do dumb shit. Like, oh, roll them up in the mat, and then they roll you down a hill or something, like some jackass shit or something.
Yeah.
Like, even me at my age, like, we just do dumb stuff all the time. But
yeah. Well, let me just finish telling you this, and then we'll talk about theories, because I have a lot of details to go into, okay?
Okay.
So, when cops arrived on the scene, they made a few mistakes. This is an issue that comes up over and over when you watch coverage of this case. They didn't rope off the scene, okay? They didn't wear any shoe coverings when they were walking the scene. They didn't really treat it like a homicide investigation. They didn't call the coroner for 6 hours, which is actually against Georgia law, because when someone is dead on the scene, you're supposed to call a coroner immediately because a coroner's job is to investigate the scene to determine time of death and determine cause of death. Another thing that was weird is that paramedics at the scene, because they always have paramedics show up as well, paramedics made notes in their charts that stated that they notified police that this should be investigated as a homicide. And apparently that wasn't taken into account. So the coroner is, like I said, in charge of determining time and cause of death. And in an interview, this guy, his name is Bill Watson, he was the coroner at the time, he states that the sheriff's department not calling him immediately was incredibly detrimental to his investigation and that it significantly compromised it. And it made his job so much harder and near impossible for him to determine these things.
Once, like, a cop or whatever does something so blatantly wrong, sometimes it makes you wonder, what do they know about it and were they trying to mess this up?
Yes.
Mess up the investigation.
So you're thinking the way that a lot of people think about this case. But I'm going to continue to give you more details and we'll see if your mind changes later or if you continue to feel this way. So quickly after KJ was found, an investigation started, but it wouldn't last very long. After the autopsy was completed, investigators determined this was an accidental death. According to police, there is surveillance footage of Kendrick entering the gym at 1:30.
Oh, there's cameras? Then
there's tons of cameras.
I was just thinking, like, there must not be cameras in this gym, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this story.
No, there's tons. And this is where shit gets interesting. So according to cops, right, he entered the gym and you see him. I can pull up the footage, right? I can show you. There's footage all over the internet. You see him walking into the gym at 1:30 p.m. And this is where a lot of students stored their clothes. So apparently at this school, the lockers, there was a monthly fee to buy gym lockers. So a bunch of students didn't want to pay the fee. So they used to keep their gym clothes and their sneakers hidden in the mats.
Okay, so that's why the shoes were off. Because
Yeah.
he kept his shoes there.
Well, there were two sets of sneakers. Don't forget. There's one black and white pair.
His hooping shoes and then his Stay Fresh shoes.
And then there was the Nikes, right? So the cops, they maintain that he walked in at 1:30 where he went to go grab his shoes for his third period weightlifting class. And then all the mats were standing up vertically. So to them, they think he tried to climb in the mat while it was standing up vertically to go down into the mat and grab his shoes, but unfortunately got stuck and then died from suffocating.
No.
So the autopsy that was conducted.
This kid was athletic. He played ball. He ain't going out like that.
Well, the autopsy determined that the cause of death is positional asphyxia, which means you suffocate because your body is in a position that compromises your airway, either your lungs or your throat.
Oh, and then they're saying he was upside down.
Yes.
Oh, damn. So maybe.
The problem with this diagnosis is that it's incredibly rare, and it's usually used when everything else has been ruled out. It's one of those things, it's like, okay, well, if it wasn't this, and this, then it was probably positional asphyxia.
Kind of like when they can't figure out what's wrong with you and they say you have fibromyalgia or whatever.
Fibromyalgia.
Yeah, like you just have pain that they can't say what's wrong with you and you have the fibromyalgia, that one.
Yes, there's a lot of diagnoses out there like that. Like there's a lot of stuff with nerve pain and everything. And this is kind of like that, where they can't figure out exactly what happened, so then they just throw this label on it. It
kind of is like you can't figure it out and then just like, shit, be like that, write that down.
Yeah. So after police released this statement, right, saying that he went in to grab his sneakers and he climbed up in and he got stuck and then it was an accidental death, the family was incredibly unhappy with this investigation. And from their perspective, this couldn't be what it was. It couldn't be. And, they were very upset. They wanted more answers and they weren't getting them. So they ended up having a funeral for him and they laid their son to rest.
Damn.
But immediately They started speaking out against the accidental death ruling. So the family was understandably traumatized, right? This is their 17-year-old kid. This is traumatizing.
Go to the videotapes.
So after speaking to students and conducting a bit of an investigation of their own, they were convinced that a cover-up had taken place. So I want to take a quick second to tell you guys about our sponsor today, Podcorn. You know, we've been doing this podcast for about a year and a half now, and it takes a lot of work. And I know a lot of you are in the same boat. We all have these creative ventures that we go on, and we don't realize how much time it actually takes up in our week. It can be really difficult to find sponsorship opportunities. This is where Podcorn comes in. Podcorn is a website that hooks advertisers with independent podcasters. It's free to sign up, and it's really super simple. All you do is find an advertiser that you want to advertise on your show. You send them a proposal and your fee, and if they decide to pick you, you make an ad and run it. It's really that easy, and then you get paid for it. It gives you all the creative control and allows you to pick who you want to advertise on your show. And it just keeps the process super simple. Check our show notes for the link, podcorn.com. Okay, back to the story. The family then released a photo of their son's face to the media, and this photo had been taken at the funeral home after his autopsy. It is very disturbing, and he is unrecognizable. And this caused many people to rally with the family to get more answers of why this wasn't even considered. Like, it's one thing to do the investigation and then decide, okay, this was an accidental death. But from their perspective, a homicide wasn't even considered from the beginning.
So they never investigated.
Like, they never really put the effort in to figure out if this kid was killed. They just automatically walked in with an assumption and stuck to it. So I'm going to show you the picture that the family released that caused a lot of uproar and people to rally behind them. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Okay, so this is the photo the family released, and I want to see what you think.
Whoa.
Yeah. This is what they saw, what the family saw when they showed up to the funeral home after his autopsy. And this is what made them question the entire investigation.
Oh, man, that's nasty to look at. That's always what I thought people would look like if they were in water and you found them floating in water.
So,
just swollen and unrecognizable, because it doesn't look like him at all.
So the issue was, he was upside down for a very long time, over 24 hours, I think.
That's what I wanted to ask. I was going to ask, does that just happen from being upside down? Maybe all the blood rushes to your head.
So I'm going to show you another photo. So this photo I wanted to show you because this is what caused all the outrage and caused all the people to rally behind them, the family. But what a lot of people don't understand about autopsies, and what I didn't understand until I went down the rabbit hole with this case, is that when you have an autopsy conducted, when they have to take your brain out, right? So they have to go through the back of your head. They cut open your skull, they cut your scalp, and they pull it forward.
So the autopsy could have did this.
So the autopsy definitely played a part in his skin looking so wrinkled and really deforming his face. But this is what he looked like the day of when he first came out of the mat, which...
He looks like his lip might have been busted, but I don't know. That could just be swollen.
Yeah.
Because I don't know science.
So, exactly. So, when he first came out of the mat, his head was
That's a sad story, man. A young, athletic dude just...
I know.
Wrapped up in the mat.
I know.
That's crazy. And stuck upside down, I don't... So they're saying his shoe was in there, and he went in head first to get his shoe?
Yes.
Now, I don't believe that, because if his shoe was at the bottom... You just push the mat over and grab it.
Exactly.
You don't jump in head first, because how are you going to get out?
Exactly. That's what the family thought too.
Yeah, they're like, he's just smarter than this. That doesn't make sense.
Like, why wouldn't you just knock the mat over and then grab the shoe?
Yeah, because like, all right, so say now the mat was up. Did he like toss the shoe through the hole like it was a basketball hoop, and then like, all right, it'll go to the bottom, and I'll go get it later? Because he obviously hide in his shoes because he don't want anyone to get him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
So exactly. So you're thinking exactly what everybody was thinking. Like, why would this kid dive from the top of a 6-foot mat instead of just knocking it over and grabbing his sneakers?
Maybe he was with some friends and they dared him, and then like he jumped in. He got stuck. They laughed because as boys, you're gonna die laughing if someone gets stuck. And then they walked off like, he'll get out.
Yeah, so that's definitely a possibility. And we'll talk about theories later because you're on the track of what a lot of people think as far as theories go.
And then the boys are too scared to go back. It's like, oh shit, we thought it was funny. Because like if a friend got stuck in there like and he couldn't get out, like you might draw a mustache on him and then eventually get him out. Like, you can't get out. And then you slap him up and then...
Well, no, if that's the case, no one came back and he was stuck there.
That's crazy though. I don't believe that though.
So, okay. So immediately the family starts speaking out against this accidental death ruling, and they were understandably incredibly traumatized. So after speaking to all these students and conducting some investigations of their own, and then they released this photo, like I said, and the ones I showed you, a lot of people rallied behind them and got behind their cause. So on May 8th, 2013, the judge granted Kendrick Johnson's body to be exhumed. Okay.
What's that mean?
Taken back up out of the dirt.
Oh.
They exhumed his body because the family paid for their own autopsy. They wanted a different person to perform an autopsy, and they wanted a second opinion because they didn't trust the first one.
How long was he how long was he buried for before they took him out?
Well, he died on January 10th, and this is May 8th, so he had to have been...
So now, you can still do an autopsy on someone that's been buried that long and get accurate information?
Apparently you can. I mean, I'm not a medical examiner. I don't know. I mean, obviously you can because they wouldn't. The judge allowed them to exhume him.
We need to talk to an autopsyist.
A medical examiner?
That'd be a better name, an autopsyist.
An autopsyist. So on
very direct. You know what someone does. They say, I'm a medical examiner. Well, what are you examining?
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
I'm an autopsyisms.
So on May 8th, okay, he was exhumed. The family paid for their own medical examiner to perform another autopsy. During the second autopsy, listen to this. This is crazy. During the second autopsy, it's discovered that KJ's organs have been removed and not put back. They were replaced by newspaper. Okay. So when someone dies, you have to get consent from the family with what to do with the organs. Okay. So that's
terrible.
They take out the organs, right, to examine them and to perform an autopsy. And generally, if someone wants to be an organ donor, then you will then donate the organs. But the family has to sign off on it. This is a consent issue. Like, the family has to know where these organs have gone. This is a piece of their family member.
And he was probably dead already too long for his organs to be valuable to be donated.
Exactly. So the coroner said that his organs were too decomposed, right? But the fact that the family didn't know that they didn't put the organs back in and that they stuffed him with newspaper, which it's not really good practice. It's kind of scumbaggish to stuff people with newspaper. Like generally they use cotton or like something soft.
I'll be a little respectful.
Newspaper is like a bit of a trashy thing to do.
Yeah, don't stuff me with like the trashy tabloids or pages of
it's just disrespectful.
Mets games. Like I don't want the Mets in me.
Well, it's just disrespectful to the dead. So like
yeah, it is.
They normally stuff people with cotton when they embalm them and stuff, but the family, apparently, according to them, the funeral home had agreed to do this whole thing for free for the family, like out of the goodness of their heart. And then they ended up stuffing him with the cheapest possible thing, which is like just kind of gross, in my opinion. Like just slap in the face.
I think it's disrespectful.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys already know because we have been talking about them for a while now. Via Hemp is by far one of our favorite sponsors we've ever had, okay? We use their products all the time. Maybe you're a little like me. You're a little anxious. You have a hard time settling down. You're kind of wound up a lot. If that's you, Via Hemp products are for you. Check out their website. You will find something that speaks to you. Maybe you're like Russ. You have a hard time sleeping because you have bad nerve pain or chronic pain. Then Via Hemp is for you because their gummies will help you get some quality sleep. Maybe you're looking to have a really good time. Maybe you just really like edibles. You want to laugh. You want to get the munchies. You want to watch a movie and have a really strong belly laugh. Then Via Hemp products are for you, okay? They're literally for everybody. So head over to viahemp.com, promo code wifeofcrime1 to get 15% off your first order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Wife of Crime #1 for 15% off your first order. Last year, Save More Money was the most popular New Year's resolution in America. Clearly, a lot of us feel like our money is slipping through our fingers. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the best saver, and I don't know much about investing until I started saving and investing with Acorns. Turns out you don't have to be an expert at all because Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. And I always thought that when people say, ooh, I invest in stocks, that they had a ton of money or something. Well, you don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can literally start with $5. And you know you guys are spending that at Starbucks on these fancy lattes. So skip the coffee and invest with Acorns. You don't even need a ton of time. Like you can just sign up and start investing within 5 minutes. Head over to acorns.com/wifeofcrime or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. That's acorns.com/wifeofcrime. So all the organs were never found.
Obviously.
Well, but the family, I mean,
he's been gone for months. Those things have rotted.
Yeah, but the family doesn't know what happened to them, which is just weird and not okay.
Did they ask?
I'm sure they did.
Like, hey.
They never gave consent. So, like, they were probably thrown away, but it's just the point.
Okay.
The point of it is the disrespect.
They didn't respect his body.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like they don't respect his life.
Exactly. Yes. So, this caused the family to suspect a cover-up even more. Although the coroner expressed a lack of confidence in the sheriff's department, in his previous documents and interviews, he said, that them not calling him compromised his job, they still denied the family the opportunity to change it from a wrongful or an accidental death to a wrongful death.
Why are they in charge of that if they're not scientists?
No, the judge.
Oh, the judge.
Yeah. So the second autopsy determined the cause of death to be blunt force trauma to the right side of his neck, which is very different from positional asphyxia. CNN then gained access to the cameras for the family to review, which is very interesting.
I can't believe it took this long.
Well,
I would have burnt the school down.
Yeah. There's like a little bit of a back and forth. The school board claims that they offered the opportunity to the family to come and view the footage, right? But apparently the family claims that they weren't able to see the footage. So CNN, being that they're a news network and they can get access to certain things, ended up getting access to the footage to show the family.
Wow.
There were 4 cameras in the gym. 4. However, none of them were facing the mats. Okay? And there is a few cameras that are missing an hour of footage, and no one can account for that hour. And it's the hour that this kid goes missing.
That's very fishy.
Very fishy.
Now you know there's foul play.
So all you see, right, in the camera footage is him walking down the hallway towards the old gym, wearing the white Nikes that were stuffed behind his legs, holding the yellow envelope that they found on the floor. And then he's not seen in class again for the rest of the day. So that's the last known footage of him.
Where's his second pair of sneakers? Was it there with him?
They were in the mat.
So he had 2 pairs of sneakers in there with him.
The one pair of sneakers was the ones he was wearing, but then they ended up being behind his legs.
Yep.
The other pair of sneakers were a black and white pair, right? Now I have another ball to drop. One of the sneakers was the one they did a close-up of in the video that was laying near the mats. The other sneaker was in the mat with him below his head, right? Like in the mat with him.
Okay.
However, the sneaker was laying on top of blood that was on the floor, but there was no blood on the sneaker, which is very interesting because when you're upside down and all the blood rushes to your head, eventually blood is going to start leaking out of orifices. It's going to start leaking out of your eyes, ears, nose. But none of the blood got on the sneaker that was in the mat with him.
Huh.
And it was below his head, and that's really weird.
But was there any blood in the mat? I didn't really see no blood.
There was blood on the floor next, like where the mat was standing up, there was blood on the floor.
I feel like we might be reaching.
Well, maybe. I'm just presenting the entire case to you. So his parents continue to fight and seek answers. And they file a wrongful death suit and allege that KJ had been bullied in the past by 2 boys who happened to be brothers. The Bell brothers. Come to find out.
Fuck the Bell brothers. Bullies are the worst.
Come to find out, these 2 brothers' father was an FBI agent.
Here we go. Lock them all up.
In 2015, the Johnsons filed a $100 million lawsuit against 38 people, including 3 of their son's classmates, which include the Bell brothers, the school, the local crime lab, state and federal officials, 5 agents of the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, an FBI agent, which is the Bell brothers' father, and more. The parents asserted that the sons of the FBI agent killed Johnson and used their connections to cover up the investigation.
I'm in.
But the family admitted that they had no hard evidence to back this up. And because of that, all the charges had to be dropped because there's no actual evidence to prove this. There was no DNA evidence at the scene. There was no blood anywhere other than in the mat. There's no blood. So say...
And the camera footage was missing.
Camera footage was missing, yeah. But say he got beat up or got punched. He got, blood...
Thrown in there.
But there was no blood in the gym anywhere.
Yeah, it sounded like he could have got beat up, rolled up in the mat. They put it there, left him there, didn't think he was going to die. Now he's dead. And this is what I think happened. What's those dudes' names again?
The Bell brothers.
They kissed my ass.
So the Bell brothers did not cooperate with this investigation. They refused to talk to police. They didn't lawyer up. They refused to speak to anyone, okay?
Which is smart in general, because just don't talk to cops ever, no matter what, because they're only investigating a crime and see if they could get you.
Well, not in this case. In this case, they didn't even investigate this as a homicide. But the Bell brothers refused to cooperate, which further made the family think they had to be involved in some way because they're not cooperating with police or the grand jury or anything. So the family, after, they did this lawsuit against all these people and then the charges were dropped, the Bell family filed a defamation suit against them because one of the Bell brothers got a full scholarship to FSU for a football scholarship and he lost it. Wow. FSU pulled his scholarship because his name was involved in this case.
Well, even if he didn't do it, he's a bully and he doesn't deserve no school for free.
So these Bell brothers, as I said, their dad is an FBI agent. They wouldn't cooperate with anything. But eventually, they finally spoke out. And they only spoke to one source. There's only one interview that I could find of them. And I'm going to play the interview for you.
And it was their uncle.
No, it wasn't. It was the guy from a local news station. But I'm going to play an interview for you because I want you to see what you think about these brothers. Okay, and I'm gonna post everything I'm playing for Russ on wifeofcrime.com on the blog post for this episode, so you guys can watch it too. But I want to see what Russ thinks.
Investigation into the mystery surrounding the death of a Valdosta teenager found in an upright gym mat at school. Two young men at the focus of the Kendrick Johnson controversy have declined to talk to investigators, a grand jury, and an on-camera interview until now. Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie live outside FBI headquarters in DeKalb County with these exclusive interviews. Mark?
And at last check, this case remained a focus of federal investigation. But we are outside the FBI's Atlanta field office because that is where we're told Agent Rick Bell was assigned, and both his sons are the subject of target letters from a federal prosecutor. And now we hear from them at last.
I'm going to ask my photographer to push in tight on your face.
Okay.
Our viewers can read your expression. Did you have anything to do with the death of Kendrick Johnson?
No. He was like one of my good friends.
Even at the time of his death?
Even at the time of his death.
You know, every word we broadcast of this is going to be scrutinized by the blogosphere, the Twitter sphere, and so on.
Yes, sir. It should be. And I want everybody to know the truth. And, I mean, they can ridicule me and they can say whatever they want, but in the end, the truth will prevail. And everybody will find that me and my brother have been innocent and always will be innocent.
We've just heard what family attorneys acknowledge sheriff's deputies, the GBI, and a federal grand jury have not heard. Brothers Brian and Brandon Bell answering questions, no holds barred, about the mysterious death of Kendrick Johnson in 2013.
He was the laughter of our house. He was the joy of our house, and he gives us strength to keep fighting.
The Lowndes County Sheriff says after a thorough investigation, his office agrees with the state medical examiner that Johnson's death was an accident due to positional asphyxia, that he wedged himself in a rolled-up gym mat trying to reach a shoe and could not get out. But Kendrick Johnson's mom takes issue with that.
Are you more convinced today than ever that KJ was a victim of foul play?
Yes.
And with some of what the Bells say.
No, they weren't friends.
And in a lawsuit, Johnson's parents allege a group, including the Bell brothers, sons of an FBI agent, violently assaulted their son, leading to his death.
None of the allegations that were made were without research.
But both Bells maintain they have rock-solid alibis.
Did you see Kendrick Johnson?
No, sir, not at any point during that day.
Where were you?
I was in class. First block, second block, third block, and fourth block.
Close to the gym?
No.
Did you see Kendrick that day?
No. I did not.
The suit suggests the brothers sought revenge for a brief fight between Brian and Kendrick on a team bus.
A year before,
What was
we're
that
still
about,
friends.
anyway?
So I can't even remember. It was so small to us, it was ridiculous.
Your brother had a football scholarship offered to FSU.
Yes, sir, he did.
They pulled it back.
On signing day.
So how low did you get?
To the lowest you can go.
Letters from the Macon U.S. Attorney's Office suggest both Bells are targets of grand jury investigation. The letters suggest possible civil rights violations.
My objective is to only get justice for my son.
Have you prayed for the Johnsons?
Yes, sir. I have. I hope that they found justice, and I hope that they do find out the truth about their son.
I pray for the truth to come out about what happened to my son.
Now, there's lots more. These interviews were extensive. No lawyers present, no parents present. We plan to have a lot of all new excerpts coming up on Channel 2 Action News at 6, including both Bell brothers talking about federal search warrants executed at their residences in recent weeks and what searchers may have been after. For now, I'm live outside FBI Atlanta headquarters in DeKalb County. Mark Winnie, Channel 2 Action News.
Two sons of an FBI agent are describing raids on their residences in recent weeks in connection with an investigation into the death of a Valdosta high school student found rolled up in a gym mat. And their mother says they have not spoken to prosecutors, police, or the grand jury. But now they've talked to Channel 2 investigative reporter Mark Winnie. Mark live in DeKalb County with excerpts from those interviews that are new since 5. Mark.
That's right. We are live outside the Atlanta field office of the FBI. We are told that is where the father of Brian and Brandon Bell was assigned, though he worked out of Valdosta. But it was another federal agency that apparently showed up at his son's residences recently.
This is where they knocked the morning of around 5 a.m. You can see the scuff marks from the shoes as the U.S. Marshals knocked.
I was laying in bed. I got a bang on my door.
Tactical gear?
Yes, sir, to the nth degree.
It was just like, it's about the Kendrick Johnson case, the ongoing Kendrick Johnson investigation.
Brandon Bell says what he and brother Brian Bell woke up to in two different rental places July 21st was worse than a bad dream. Deputy U.S. Marshals serving search warrants in connection with the mysterious death of Kendrick Johnson at Lowndes High School in 2013.
I was just really shocked.
I broke down and cried.
I really had no reason in my head why they would be here.
It just keeps on getting worse.
One might imagine Kendrick Johnson's mom feels like she's in a nightmare that won't end.
Kendrick gives me strength. You know, he was our baby. He was my son.
The Lowndes County Sheriff says after a thorough investigation, his office agrees with the state medical examiner that Johnson's death was an accident due to positional asphyxia, that he wedged himself in a rolled-up gym mat trying to reach a shoe and could not get out.
I would imagine practically every one of your viewers sat scratching their head.
And a lawsuit by Johnson's parents alleges a group including the Bell brothers, sons of an FBI agent, violently assaulted their son, leading to his death.
My only angle is to find justice for my son.
But the Bell civil attorneys, Patrick O'Connor and Bryce Ladson, say the July 21st search warrants sought text messages, emails, and the like relevant to alleged witness tampering and obstruction of justice.
Is it possible you were involved in any witness tampering or obstruction?
No, sir, in no possible way whatsoever.
Have you obstructed justice in any way?
No.
Have you tampered with any witnesses, tried to influence anybody, tried to stop somebody from talking in the Kendrick Johnson investigation?
No.
Where our viewers can look in your eyes, did you have anything to do with the death of Kendrick Johnson?
No, sir. Nor me or my family had anything to do with his death.
Both Bells maintain they have rock-solid alibis.
Where were you?
I was in class.
Videos, pictures, and theories abound online about what happened, some involving school surveillance video. We talked to Brandon Bell about his appearance.
I was changing clothes before I had to leave for the wrestling tournament that we were going to. And I went in there to check my weight the first time. I changed, and then the shirt that was assumed to have blood on it, that they had circled and said blood, it actually said RLX. It's a type of polo.
How's it feel to get your side out?
Great. Because I finally, we've just been sitting here. Not just letting everybody else talk. You know, it's our time to talk.
Okay, so after watching those two brothers, what do you think?
The first thing I thought of, look at that fake-ass Tom Brokaw interviewing ass.
Oh, the reporter?
Yeah, look at him, this fake old Tom Brokaw, or whatever, however you say that. The interview seemed rehearsed, as if they were asked these questions by that reporter previously, so they can answer them. Like, I'm going to put this camera closer into your face so they can see your emotions when I ask you this question. And then he asked them the question.
Yeah.
That seems like that isn't the first time. He was ready for that, because if somebody told me that, I'd be like, what? You're going to zoom in on my, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then,
did they seem genuine to you?
I don't know if they seem genuine. As in genuine, did they care? No, they didn't care that he died. They might have cared that they're being accused for it. I can't say whether they did it or not.
But you don't think that they cared that he passed away?
No, not at all.
Okay.
They could give a shit less. They just care that
it's affected them.
Yeah, it affected their scholarship. And scholarship to a big school like FSU, the kid probably had some real potential to, maybe even take it to the next level. And then fake Tom Brokaw asked them, have you prayed for him? What?
Yeah, it just seemed like a bit of a...
He was like, I'm going to say these things, because Tom Brokaw looked like an idiot already. He was like a try-hard reporter. So he was like, I'm going to make it look like you guys really care. So I'm going to ask, have you prayed for them? Obviously, you have to say yes.
Yeah. What about the footage of his mom, of KJ's mom? Do you feel like, I just felt so sad for her?
I just feel bad for her, because regardless what's going on, that's tough.
She just wants to know what happened to her kid.
Yeah,
thing.
and whether he was rolled up in the thing and dove in head first, which he did not do, because that doesn't make any sense, or someone put him in there, she's just sad, and it's affecting her terribly. But those kids are fake, and I feel like they could have done it, and they wouldn't have any remorse.
Interesting. Well, a lot of attention got brought to them, not only because of the case that the Johnsons brought them up in, but also the sheriff's department received an anonymous email that pretty much said, it was from a girl who said that she was at a party and another girl told her that she knew who killed KJ, and then went through and listed a bunch of names. I think it was 5 names. So this email was sent, but later it was all redacted. And when you look up the email, it just says, it describes, the names of the people, but all it says is redacted, 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 because apparently the girl who wrote the email then took back her thing and said it was all a prank. It wasn't real. So that's when a lot more of attention got brought on these brothers as well, but they were never charged with anything. So in June of 2018, now, which is like 5 years, 5 years after his death, Kendrick Johnson's body was exhumed for a second time.
Oh, damn. Let the guy rest.
This was a 3rd autopsy that was being performed because the family paid for yet another one.
Now it's getting crazy.
So the findings of the second autopsy, like I said, determined blunt force trauma. And this 3rd autopsy now confirmed blunt force trauma. So they wanted another one to confirm that there was blunt force trauma to
I could
him.
see it, but oh man, that's...
And it was confirmed. So KJ's parents hoped that the result of this 3rd autopsy, the surveillance footage, which they obtained, and they learned had maybe been tampered with, and the mishandling of evidence at the scene would be enough to reopen the case. And for 2 years, they heard nothing. But now here we are in March 2021, and there is a new sheriff in town, and his name is Ashley Polk. Okay?
His name is Ashley?
Yeah, Ashley can be a man's name too.
That reminds me of like a Boy Named Sue song. Like, God damn, you didn't
No,
have to give me that name.
Ashley is a man's name too. It's a gender neutral name, like Corey.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
There's many men out in the world named Ashley.
That sucks for them.
I'm serious. I mean, I'm telling you, there really is.
The song from Johnny Cash could have been A Boy Named Ashley. Same shit.
Well, this guy is old. He's an old guy, and his name's Ashley Polk, and he is reopening
Shout out
the
to
case.
Ashley.
Well, he is reopening the case. He was not the sheriff at the time of the original investigation, but he said in interviews, I actually watched a lot of interviews with him, and he seems to me to be pretty genuine. He really wants to find the truth of what happened to this kid. He's in close contact with the family and it has been for years. And he said
Before he was the
so
sheriff?
he
what
was
was he to contact them?
He was a cop in the past and then retired and now has become sheriff.
Sheriff is a job you have to like have an election for. You just don't get hired, right?
I think. I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, we see like signs, vote for sheriff.
I think so.
McLovin or whatever.
So he was not the sheriff at the time, but now he is. And he's been in close contact with the family for a long time and has built a relationship with them. And he's very invested. And he seems like he really wants to find the truth. So they are reopening this case as of last week. And he says that it's probably going to take them like 6 months to go through all the evidence, but he's going to go through it with like a fine-tooth comb and really try to find out exactly what happened, whether it is an accident or it was a homicide. He said he's trying to go into it with no preconceived notions at all. He's trying to keep an open mind and investigate it properly.
I can't believe that the previous sheriffs would dismiss some evidence from other like medical professionals. seems like they weren't taking it seriously. Like, nope, our guy said this. We don't care.
Well, yeah, but they, the second autopsy happened a couple of years after. Or no, it happened a few months after. And apparently, I guess the case was already kind of closed. Because
it doesn't matter. If a case is closed and you're presented with new evidence, the case should no longer be closed.
No, I agree with you, totally. But that's the way it happened. They wouldn't reopen it.
Okay, dummies.
So, okay, let's discuss. There's really like 3 theories of what could have happened to this kid. So let's really quick discuss these theories, all right? So the first one is it was an accident. He climbed up, dove down, grabbed the sneaker, and got stuck. So one thing I want to tell you to, add to your point of it probably not being an accident is that the diameter inside the mat is 14 inches around. His shoulders were 19 inches.
Maybe that mat wasn't rolled that tight that day. So it could be a little...
Maybe. Or maybe when his arm was up, one arm was up, it made it, the width of his shoulders a little less. But needless to say, the accident theory, you don't think it was an accident. I don't really think it was an accident because why wouldn't the kid just knock over the mat and grab the sneakers? Like, it seems kind of weird to dive in there.
Nobody does things the hardest way.
Yeah.
Most people take the path of the least resistance, and the least resistance was push that mat over and grab your shoe.
Yeah, exactly. So another theory is this was a prank gone wrong, which is something you kind of brought up. That maybe someone, did a prank and then left him and didn't realize that there was serious, kids are stupid, honestly. Like, teenagers are dumb. No offense to teens listening, but you guys, are naive sometimes.
They could be offended. They're dumb. Who cares?
So you guys are naive sometimes and don't realize like the actual consequences of your actions. And possibly someone, did this as a prank and then realized, oh shit, this just got real, and they aren't speaking now. They don't want to talk.
Yeah, I felt like that's a real possibility. Young boys do a lot of dumb shit. I would have rolled someone up in a mat, but not like in a bully way. The person might have even been down with it. Then once you get them in there, you're like, let's leave them there for a little while. Like, that could happen.
Yeah. And then the other theory is that this was a homicide. And what the family believes is that he had issues with, the Bell brothers in the past. And they had, one of them and him got into a fight on a bus the year before. And they weren't friends, despite the fact that the kid says they were friends.
Yeah, that was bullshit. They're friends. Get out of here.
Yeah, they're not friends. And the family believes that someone hit him in the neck with something. And then he went into that mat either dead or unconscious. And that's what the family is adamant about. And that's what a lot of people believe. But when you go down the Reddit rabbit hole with this, there's also a lot of people who believe this was an accident too. It's very interesting to see both sides.
It's not impossible.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it's kind of improbable.
Yeah, it's unlikely that is it.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this plays out as this investigation opens back up. I'm sure that people who haven't heard this case before are going to jump down the rabbit hole and start looking things up because it's such a crazy case. And I'm still unsure I'm actually unsure between if it was a prank gone wrong or if this was a real actual foul play, like an actual homicide. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to see where this goes because normally, like, after these cases, sometimes I forget them. Just like, oh, remember this case? We're like, nah, I forgot it. What was that again?
Yeah.
She probably could tell me some of the cases again, and it'd be the same natural reactions as if it was the first time. Because sometimes she tells me about a case, and I'm like, wait, we did that?
So true.
But some of them I was a little buzzed. This one, not so much. But I'm interested to see where it goes. So in 6 months, maybe we'll have like an update somewhere.
Yeah, we could do an update, yeah.
Or as information comes out, we'll update here and we'll talk about it or put it on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod or something.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So if you guys can stomach it and you can handle the pictures, like I said, the family agreed and the family put these pictures out. You can go check them out on our website and see what you think. definitely comment on this episode on Instagram, Facebook, or patrons. Comment on Patreon. I'm curious to hear your guys' opinion on this. I really am, because I love hearing different opinions. If you guys end up debating, please be respectful. Let's all
roast each other. Who cares?
Let's all have respectful debates. But there's a whole other side of this that we have to remember, and something the family really brings up. And actually, I know you're not a huge fan of Anonymous, Russ, but Anonymous did do a 10-minute long video about this case, saying that they're looking into everything.
No, I was a fan of Anonymous. When that whole little thing first came, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Mm-hmm. They're going to expose people.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't do shit. They make these stupid little videos, and now they disappeared, and now they have a little Facebook page, and now they advertise on it. Shut up.
Well, they put a video out, and something that a lot of people bring up is the context of where this is. We are in Valdosta, Georgia, which, is unfortunately still racism is just alive and well down there. This is the South. And a lot of people bring up the fact that Valdosta, Georgia, even though I think it's like 56% Black, that it's all ran by white people in the sheriff's department, white people in government. And people think that if this was a white kid who was found wrapped up in a mat, would the investigation have gone the same way? So
I don't know. I hope that's not the case.
I hope it's not the case too, but we can't deny the fact that racism is still alive and well in this country.
Obviously, look at all the stuff that's going on nowadays.
But it's something to consider, and it's something that the family brings up a lot. So we have to look at it. It's part of the entire story.
Yeah, on Instagram, let me know what you guys think about this case. Because right now we have 3 theories. And then let me know what you think so I can judge your theory and see if I think you're dumb, maybe.
No, don't say that. You're ridiculous.
But sometimes I'm like, that one's an idiot. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, man, that was a good idea I never thought of.
Oh, my God, you're so ridiculous. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you really like this episode. Check out all of our socials. And keep an eye out on Patreon, because if you're interested in the Patreon, we post once a month a True Crime and Chill episode where I force Russ to watch a documentary or docuseries with me, and then we talk about it. It's pretty casual. It's pretty fun. We have a good time with them. And
thanks for coming over there, because if I have to watch those documentaries, at least come discuss them with me, because sometimes I'm down for the ones that are one episode, but when it was like a series, I was like, God damn.
And we also...
but I still have fun.
We also, now we have some ads in our main episodes. So on Patreon, we are giving our patrons ad-free episodes.
At all levels.
At all levels. Even the $2 level Russ Beer Fund. So, all right, have a wonderful week, everybody. See you later.
Peace.